Donald Trump has now gone completely silent as the war in Iran rages on. Iran shows no sign of surrender. Donald Trump held that disastrous press conference yesterday where he accused Iran of using Tomahawk missiles on its own elementary school. And of course, we know that it was actually the United States that bombed that elementary school in Manab, Iran. Donald Trump also said that the Iranian regime has been completely decimated, utterly obliterated, barely even exists anymore, which is also false. I mean, just look at the front page of the New York Times right now. A show of support on Monday at the main square in Tehran for Iran's new supreme leader. The people of Iran are now rallying behind the Ayatollah Monjaba, the son of the old Ayatollah, as the Trump regime has continued to just debase and attack and lose any support that it had. I mean, it said, you know what, all the Iranian people are menacing and they are nasty. That's what the Trump regime repeats over and over again. They're okay, apparently, with Israel and supportive of it, bombing the oil rigs in Iran, creating this nuclear winter-like circumstance there. You know, they keep on saying we're going to bomb the hell out of them, you know, over and over again. And again, Iran just doesn't show at this point any sign of surrender. This war doesn't seem like it's going to be ending. Iranian officials saying, absolutely, we do not want to seek a truce. We do not want a ceasefire right now. And Iran is continuing to launch its Shahid drones and ballistic missiles nearby in Arab nations. I mean, look what just happened this morning. Another refinery, the biggest oil refinery, Bloomberg reports, in the United Arab Emirates, halted operations after a drone strike caused a fire in the industrial area in which it's located. According to people familiar with the matter, Abu Dhabi National Oil Co. was assessing damage at the plant, the people said, asking not to be named because the matter is not yet public. The refinery can process 922,000 barrels of oil a day, and that was hit right now. I mean, Donald Trump's last message was, if Iran does anything that stops the flow of oil within the Strait of Hormuz, they will be hit by the United States 20 times harder than they have been hit thus far. Additionally, we will take out destroyable targets that will make it virtually impossible for Iran to ever be built back as a nation again. Death, fire, and fury will rain upon them. I mean, referring to Iran as a nation, not the regime, Iran as a nation, and that death, fire, and fury will be sent upon Iran. Or Donald Trump then says, but I hope and pray that does not happen. I mean, of course you're radicalizing people against you when you behave like that. Donald Trump's advisors are urging him, find an exit ramp, get the hell out of there right now, fearing political backlash. I'll just share with you what Steve Witkoff, Donald Trump's envoy to everything, was just making his rounds on news shows this morning. And he was asked, how do we get out? And he says, I don't know. I have no clue. Thanks, Witkoff, for that. Play this clip.
So how do you see this ending, this war?
I don't know, Sarah. I know this, that President Trump is the wrong guy to go up against. That's what I know.
And then Steve Witkoff is asked, well, what do you say to parents out there or just Americans in general who don't want these regime change wars, who are struggling to buy things, who can't afford things? Right? What do you say to the American people? And Witkoff's like, how much worse would your life be if Donald Trump was not your leader? Our lives would be significantly better, you psychopaths. Here's what Witkoff says. Play this clip.
Time for one more. So I'll just, finally on Iran, what do you say people to Steve, Americans who, are struggling, they're worried about higher gas prices, higher grocery prices, health insurance, making ends meet, don't want foreign wars, certainly ones that don't have end dates and that risk American lives. What do you say to them about why this is so critical for the U.S. to be doing what it is doing in Iran right now? How do you persuade them?
I say to them, Sarah, that if they have children, think about what this world would look like if you didn't have Donald Trump as the president. Because in a year, if you had someone who didn't have the courage to do this action, you'd have 30 or 40 nuclear bombs. And what would the world look like there? So thank God we have a president and leadership at the helm that makes these courageous decisions.
Just so you can see how unpopular this war against Iran is, New York Times showed that Trump's war is the most popular war ever. The most unpopular war like ever. World War II, with lots of support. Afghanistan war, lots of support in the first days. Public support for U.S. military intervention in the first days of international conflict. Persian Gulf War, 82% war. Iran war, 41% heading into the war. It's interesting as well as Donald Trump tries to ingratiate himself with Pakistan, and Donald Trump has really pushed away India as an ally. India is now moving closer to Russia. Donald Trump basically took Pakistan's side in the India and Pakistan war, which broke out last year, which Trump tried to take credit for resolving, which he didn't. And Trump's like, Pakistan this, Pakistan that. Well, now the prime minister of Pakistan sent this message this morning. I congratulate His Eminence, Ayatollah Mojtaba Khomeini, on his assumption of the responsibilities of the supreme leader of the Islamic Republic of Iran. That's your buddy, Donald? That's your buddy, the Prime Minister of Pakistan? I also reiterate deepest condolences and prayers on behalf of the people of Pakistan on the martyrdom of his father, Ayatollah Ali Khomeini, and other family members. I am confident that the new supreme leader would guide Iran towards peace, stability, and prosperity in the years ahead. Meanwhile, New York Times is now showing new photos from the United States February 28th school strike in Manab, Iran, showing recovered weapons debris with remnants consistent with U.S.-made Tomahawk cruise missiles as main rights. You can see Made in USA and Department of Defense codes. I think that's an important thing to, again, continue to give you the evidence there. According to Axios, in August last year, Ukraine's President Zelensky, when he met with Donald Trump, showed Donald Trump a PowerPoint presentation detailing the effectiveness of Ukrainian counter-drone technology and offered it to the U.S. in the event of a war in the Middle East, warning Trump that the Iranians were improving the effectiveness of their drones. But Donald Trump refused to listen to Zelensky. But now Trump rushing to Zelensky to beg for help. But you have Eric Trump starting a company that deals with these drones who want the Ukrainian technology as part of a business model as well. U.S. did not entertain Zelensky's offer of help when Zelensky was there last year. And now I guess Eric Trump wants to make money with the Ukrainians. At the same time, the United States is cozying up to Putin, as Trump's continuously does. You heard that what he said yesterday about Putin in his press conference, that he spoke to Putin, had a very strong and powerful conversation with Putin about Ukraine and about the war in Iran. And Putin wants to help. Putin's a very helpful guy, Donald Trump says. Putin's very, very helpful. Well, Witkoff this morning reiterated that. And Witkoff said that he and Jared Kushner were speaking with Putin and Yuri Yushakov independent of Donald Trump. So it's like our Trump regime, the Trump regime, talks to Putin and Putin's people like almost every day at this point. Like you have to understand, the closest allies to the Trump regime is Putin. And just here, I'll show you what Witkoff just said this morning as well. Play this clip.
I can tell you that yesterday on the call with the president, the Russians said that they have not been sharing. That's what they said. Mm-hmm. So, we can take them at their word, but they did say that. And yesterday morning, independently, Jared and I had a call with Ushakov, who reiterated the same. So that's a better question for the intel people, but let's hope that they're not sharing.
Well, no, what you can share is...
You then had MAGA Mike Johnson holding a press conference this morning as Trump went silent, saying that he believes the hostilities are basically over in Iran, just a few days away from ending it, which is just false. I'll play this clip.
The hostilities and the military operation in Iran is limited in its scope. The president has said as recently as several hours ago that it will be over soon. It's been remarkably successful. I think I saw the number over 5,000 targets struck in that country. The leadership of the country, the regime has been turned over to a next generation. Who knows how long that will go? But they're holding the people back. They've killed tens of thousands of their own citizens. And importantly, for America, the reason this is in America's interest is because they were going to strike us.
Pete Hegseth held a press conference this morning where he said, like the terrorists they are in Iran, those terrorist cowards, they fire missiles at the schools. I mean, you fired the missiles at the school. I'm not suggesting that Iran doesn't do that. I'm not suggesting that Iran isn't a terroristic and despicable regime. Just saying you do that. We've seen you do that. You blew up an elementary school and killed 150 little girls and 185 total people at that school. And you've killed thousands of civilians in Iran already. As you basically say, there is no rules of engagement. Here's what he says. Play this clip.
Not now, not ever, not on our watch. The mullahs are desperate and scrambling. Like the terrorist cowards they are, they fire missiles from schools and hospitals, deliberately targeting innocents because they know their military is being systematically degraded and annihilated.
Also, it should be noted that the U.S. has likely moved our Patriot and THAAD air defense systems from Korea to the Middle East. Bye-bye, South Korea. We ain't helping you anymore. As Kim Jong-un, I want to help South Korea. Let me be very clear where I stand on the issue. I am channeling my frustration at the Trump regime's betrayal of South Korea, just to be very clear. The same way he's bye-bye Taiwan. We've got other things. We're helping Putin right now remove sanctions so he can make a lot of money selling oil, right? That's what the Trump regime is doing. South Korea's President Lee said, we are opposing the U.S. withdrawal of some of the air defense systems here, but we cannot fully enforce our opinion. We cannot fully enforce our opinion. Just think about that. If you ally with the United States right now, your opinions don't matter. Trump doesn't tell you when he's going to do invasions. They'll take the weapons back. They'll leave you stranded. Trump is just showing this is what he's done his entire life with his disastrous failed businesses, bankrupting things, his trail of destruction, his whole life. This is what he does. And just so you can see what's going on in Iran. And again, I'm purely showing this to you so you have at least another side of the narrative of what is happening there. So when the Trump regime says they're decimated and the people there they want American, whatever the propaganda is, it's just not true. That's not what's happening there. As you saw on that front page of the New York Times, there are, in that Tehran square, there are hundreds of thousands. And across Iran right now, there are millions of people rallying around the new Ayatollah. Even people who would have otherwise been against the Ayatollah are now rallying around the Iranian nation because they view Trump's statements of we're going to kill you all as bringing people together. And it's horrible. And so I'll show you what went down in Tehran Square moments ago, where you'll hear in the background, the sound of these explosions. I'm not sure. I don't know the origin of the explosion. Let me be very clear. In Iran, they are saying that it is missile strikes in the distance. I can't independently confirm that. I hear loud thuds in the background, but then the people react to that in a way that is at least showing that they are supportive, that they are supporting their regime there. And you can say, look, this is utter propaganda. And sure, it's their propaganda. But I think you need to see at least what they're projecting and to understand, is this a group of people who's about to surrender? Is this people who look like they're weak and they're about to just tap out? That's the purpose. I always want to contextualize before I just share, here's what's going on there. It's important that I contextualize, but here it is. Here, play this clip.
شما صحبت میکنم هدفمند داره عمل میکنیم و ما شاهد اجتماع حضور مردم هستیم در میدان انقلاب ما نمیترسیم، ما اینجاییم، ما اینجا هستیم، مردم اینجا هستن.
There you have it, folks. Let me know what you think about all of this. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million subscribers. And thank you all so much for watching this.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.